What up? It's Wall Street, back to talk that talk about the NBA because I am here to stay. Bars. Want to talk about my guy Jaren Jackson Jr. because someone asked me if I think he's a bad rebounder. And it was actually an interesting question because I've thought about this before. And while my answer is not yes, I don't think he's like I don't think he's a horrible rebounder. He's obviously not like an elite rebounder, but I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that he's played with, dominant rebounding, strong arm big men for his entire career, basically. Jonas Valanciunas, Steven Adams, I think Marc Gasol might have been there for a little bit, right when Jaren got drafted. So there hasn't really been a need for him to be an elite rebounder. I mean, they've made the playoffs, as the 2 seed, and he wasn't an elite rebounder then. So I just don't think it's something that he really specializes in. He also is, I think one of the interesting parts about this is that you don't usually see a big man win Defensive Player of the Year without being an elite rebounder. And he won Defensive Player of the Year, back in, 2023 because of his, ability to block shots and contest and things like that. Was averaging 3 blocks a game that year, but he was only averaging 6.8 rebounds per game. And Jaren Jackson Jr. is 6'10" and 242 pounds. So he has the body type to be an elite rebounder. He just doesn't really seem to get rebounds like that. And, I think his career average is like below 6. I want to say, his career average for rebounds per game is 5.6, which is crazy low for a 6'10" power forward / center. It's just odd. It's just pretty odd how he just doesn't really get rebounds. And I mean, now, he doesn't have Steven Adams, doesn't have Jonas Valanciunas, but he does have Zach Edey. And I'm pretty sure Zach Edey is leading rookies in rebounds. And he's going to be, a 10-plus rebound per game guy, throughout his time in the league, I think. Because he's 7'4". He's like nearly 300 pounds. He's pretty mobile. So, again, Jaren Jackson Jr. is not really going to be asked to rebound at some crazy level because they don't need him to do that. They're still a successful team without him doing that. But he just doesn't get rebounds, and he does. I think his play style plays into it a lot as well. He plays a lot on the perimeter, both offensively and defensively. Offensively, he's taking a lot of threes. And, he's not really taking a ton of shots right in the paint all the time. He's a three-point shooter, and he makes a decent amount of them. But, three-point shots, are basically, a third of his shot attempts. So that's, I wouldn't say it's odd, but, it certainly is not ordinary of a big man to be taking, nearly 6 threes a game. But, that's just how he plays. And as far as defensively playing on the perimeter, he's a guy that has the capability to switch on different players. He can really guard 1 through 5. And that's why he won Defensive Player of the Year. And a lot of times you'll see him, getting switched off a pick, go on a guard. And that's where he gets a lot of his blocks as well. So, again, I don't think it's necessarily him being a quote-unquote bad rebounder. He just is not putting himself in a position on the court to really get a ton of boards. And that might not necessarily be him. That might be the coaches, the game plan, whatever it is. It's just not happening for him. So, if you're expecting, your parlay to hit or something on Jaren Jackson getting 10-plus rebounds, it's probably not the most likely bet. If you want him to get 5, you can do that. But getting more than that might not really work out. So, I don't know, man. I think I think he's a decent rebounder. He's not someone I would be like, I'm going to put him in and expect him to get me 10 rebounds a game. I wouldn't even expect him to get me 8 rebounds a game. So, you heard it here. He's just not getting boards because this is not how he plays. And that's just what the NBA is now. NBA is a different game. You know, back in the early 2000s, it was, you know, tug of war type of bigs that are patrolling the paint, both offensively and defensively, not really sticking to the perimeter at all, trying to not get caught on switches, and getting a lot of boards. You know, like think of guys like, you know, Chris Kaman and Dwight Howard and, you know, even DeMarcus Cousins. I guess DeMarcus Cousins was kind of where the league started to shift a little bit. That was like, you know, 2010 to 2015 era, right? That's kind of when things started to change a little bit. But Jaren Jackson Jr. is still one hell of a player. He's a great player. He's just, you know, is a very unique player because you don't see, you know, guys that are that tall not getting a lot of rebounds. But that's just how he plays, man. So you got to accept it. And the Grizzlies are winning. So as long as the Grizzlies are winning, they're going to keep him doing what he's doing. And should make for some interesting basketball come playoff time. But that's all I really want to talk about today. Please, if you have some thoughts, leave your comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up. I would greatly appreciate it. If you're not already subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Por favor. Yes, I speak Spanish too. A little bit, not a lot. Un poco. Catch you guys with the next one. Stay safe. Watch some hoops. Have fun. Handle business. You know what it is. Deuces.